Hello and welcome back to the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike and Laurent. It is Monday, June 7th. On this day, we were D-Day +1 and killing Nazis. In this episode, we'll discuss another great American moment, U.S. defeating Mexico 3-2. We will talk about the Euros that start fucking Friday. That's weird. With Germany versus France. World War II reference number 2. But first, Mike, tell us what's happening at Spurs, because it's getting weird again.
Oh, no, it's been weird. Yeah, there's everything and nothing to tell, right? So we didn't have a show on Thursday. The last you heard from us, there was still no real smoke signals going on. Now they seem to have zeroed in on a director of football. I think his first name is Fabio Paratici, which is super important. I'm assuming his name is Fabio because he's Italian, but who fucking knows? I do know his last name is Paratici. I do know he's pretty good.
He sounds like a bird. Paratici.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Paratici. No, he's basically like if I were an extra in Inglourious Bastards, like Paratici, like that would be my name.
It's so funny how in our American sports sort of bubble we live in.
By the way, that was a third Nazi reference right there. I didn't even think about that.
Oh, nice. Good job. But one was fictitious. The other one's real. In our American sports bubble, we're so ingrained on like the structure. Every single sport, there's a director of football. There's a there's a GM. There's a draft. There's all this stuff that is like lined up, ready to go. Guys just do it the way they do it. European soccer, some teams have them, some teams don't. Some teams have an academy and a minor league. Some teams have scouting networks across the world. Some teams own 5 other teams. Some are owned by a guy who fucking knows how to really gamble really well. It's completely absurd how Wild West it is. And then like that team is in the Premier League because he got another team in another league in another country into the league. It's amazing how many things are going that way. And, you know, you have the Italian sort of connection to Spurs. You had Conte. Pochettino is Italian adjacent as an Argentinian.
Right.
But Mike, you were super duper excited about something, and I want you to talk about it a lot because it's amazing. So Mr. Mike Salerno, tell us what has happened in the town of Salerno.
Salerno, Italy. There's a long history of the team from there. Salerno FC, Salerno Calcio. They've gone bankrupt like, I don't know, about as many times as the Italian government has. And they found themselves in Serie D, the 4th division, in 2012.
Just go English.
Yeah.
When in doubt.
And so that means, you know, they were middling in the non-important divisions of Italian football. And they were basically struggling to get by. This is well before any ridiculousness has happened, right? 10 years ago. Last week, they punched their ticket. They were promoted all the way up to Serie A. They went from the 4th division, all the way up to the top division of Italian football. So US Salernitana 1919 is in Serie A, and I am so jazzed. I'm excited about it. They, like I said, they are from Salerno, Italy. I have a team now.
Where is Salerno, Italy?
All right, so basically, Italy's the boot, right? Imagine it's like the top of the tongue of the shoe, right on the west coast of Italy. Right as it starts to kind of jut out.
Where all the animals came to America from that the Northerners don't appreciate, have anything to do with. Yes. I think one of the things that people don't realize, I think with Italian football is it's basically the North, Rome, and there's one team from the South, and it's Napoli, and they all hate them.
Yep. Well, and everybody from the North, right? I mean, even Milan and Inter.
But I don't think people realize it. And then Torino, right? And Turin, which is basically like in Germany. It's so like Italy has this whole part. We think of the boot, but there's like a whole part of the country that's just part of Europe, and they don't consider the rest of Italy.
Yeah. And then, God forbid, you get a Sicilian team, and all hell's breaking loose.
There'll never be a Salerno. I mean, I think Palermo maybe got there once. It's so broken and corrupt that I don't think it works. And then, speaking of corrupt countries, let's talk about Mexico and CONCACAF and all that jazz.
Well, hold on, because I got so excited, right? Because there's all of a sudden I'm talking to my little brother and I'm like, oh my God, we have to buy merch and kits and everything. We have to fund this team. I'm talking to my friends. I'm like, you guys, how much do you think it'll cost to buy this team? Like, let's figure it out. I'm beside myself. So excited. I go to the website. It's all in Italian. I took 4 semesters of Italian college. I don't even know how to say my name is. So I'm using Google Translate. I'm trying to figure it out. Context clues. I could figure out where it says like official shop. All right, cool. And it's a Friday afternoon. I'm feeling good about the weekend. I'm feeling good about everything. And I'm ready to make some just reckless purchases. And I go to click official shop and it gives me a picture of the storefront. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, cool. Well, where's the, where's the online shop? And I can't find it. They don't have one. Okay. They don't have e-commerce at all.
They're not ready.
Dude, the Chop Sports Network has more e-commerce than US Salernitana in 1919, a team in Serie A. Okay.
That's fantastic.
And so now I'm just completely bewildered and confused by that. And now I'm going from this is the best. I'm going to spend like so much money and like I'm going to get my family fucking everything to that was the first weekend without soccer in what feels like 40 years, like 8 months. And soccer ruined my weekend. I was like, God damn it. I can't buy anything. I'm just a reckless American. I just want to give you my money and you won't take it. I find that to be a familiar theme in Europe. But so it was such a roller coaster for me. I was so excited and I love them. I don't even speak, like I said, a lick of the language, but I'm following them on social media and I'm in.
Oh,
but
that's great.
God, sell me some fucking merch, guys. Come on.
Yeah, let's hack it together. Maybe we got to find all the Salernos and just do like one of these T-shirt sites.
You don't want to get too many Salernos in the same place. That's too many.
Oh, Salernos. That's like ridiculously exciting. Like I think my French family is from Saint Etienne, which if I were to give a shit about the Ligue 1, that would be the team. But they're kind of a big team. They're not bums. Like before
Hey,
Lyon,
you call my family bums? You call my family bums?
Yes, I'm calling your family bums.
Yeah, you would be correct.
They're kind of a feeder team. Famous player Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang played for Saint Etienne along with Wesley Fofana. So it's a bunch of good players. But I want to follow them, but I'm just like they wear green stripes.
That's a tough sell.
That's a tough sell. Unless you're like called Celtic.
Well, and I showed you the kits. They're phenomenal.
They're killer.
Right? My buddy pointed out they do have a bit of a Florida State vibe. They're like that maroon, black, and like
the Garnets
gold.
Is the name of the team.
Garnet. Yeah, Garnet. And so that's exactly what it is. But it looks phenomenal. The designs are really good. I would have bought all 3 of them from this last season. I'm telling you, I would have spent a lot of money on these people.
We've got to get to know Fabrizio Castori.
Yeah,
your coach. He has managed, holy shit, I think 40 teams.
I haven't gone that deep into it.
All
I did was
I
went through the player list.
I got to send you to the chat because
Please
you're gonna fucking lose your mind.
Please
so
do.
I'm of course as we go, we just use the Wikipedia as we go along as we continue to bury the headline of like
holy shit, that's long. Wow, and he's managed. I see Salernitana in it like 3 times.
Well, it's Italy, right? They fire managers like they change suits.
Yeah, it's like Billy Martin and George Steinbrenner. Yeah, and so I looked through the player list, and there were like 9 guys on loan, which I get it, right? Like it's a small club,
and 4 of them were named Salerno.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, and they're all butchers and pizza men, and So I'm excited. I am going to pay attention to Serie A for the first time ever next season. I am going to be let down by not 1, but 2 teams across Europe. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm really excited. I'm hoping that I don't know anything about their play style. I really haven't looked into them yet.
Doesn't matter.
But it doesn't matter. But I hope that they're not just a yo-yo team, right? I hope that
they're going down, but that's okay.
I know. I don't need Leeds, but like, give me a Brighton. This is my Brighton.
You know what you're hoping? Here's what you really want. You want Huddersfield. Huddersfield were like the worst team ever to stay up in history. They were like a -40. They had no right to stay up, and they stayed up 1 extra season.
Yeah, that's
and Patrick Stewart was like, "That's my club, Huddersfield," and he was all like, they rolled his ass
the
out.
Salerno way.
Your captain is named Francesco Di Tacchio. Oh, it's a strong name. I like that guy.
It is. He has a shiv in his
I don't
sock.
know what's going on. It looks like there's a fucking seahorse on the crest.
I'm not really sure about that either. Yeah, so
Like
I
a
really
fast
tried.
seahorse.
I really tried to go deep into the lore and everything, and it turns you around so many different times. It's it's a rabbit hole that is, I'm going to tell you right now, is not worth going down. It's like, okay, the team is here now. Like, this is what we can talk about. It's got a stupid name, cool colors, kind of a weird crest, but hey, I root for a chicken on a football. Okay. I'm used to stupid crests.
I love it.
That's
I
not
love
going to
it.
be a
I'm
problem.
so happy for you. I mean, it's like how my favorite football moment still, aside from the one sitting in front of the TV, is my away game in South Central LA. The
Yeah, you talked
greatest
about the other
fucking
day.
sport moment of my life.
Yeah.
And last week's SD Loyal game was really good as well. That was fun.
Nice.
But we have to talk. I tried to jump you in, but I just went nuts, and I was like, well, I guess I'm always trying to move the show along because I get nervous, and I'm like, we're 5 minutes in. We have to talk about something else, but we don't have to. That's why it's a podcast. We do whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah.
But let's get in there with this Mexico thriller. Seems my friend at CBS has gotten another rights deal for CONCACAF that I didn't know about. So he didn't give me the heads up that the U.S. men's national team was playing in the CONCACAF Nations League, the equivalent of that European thing that tried to make friendlies not suck. And somehow, I guess, well, not somehow, I guess, it's CONCACAF. So the finals, the U.S. and Mexico, because who else would it fucking be? Right? I mean, Honduras shows up once in a while. Costa Rica, the Ticos have some grit, and when they have a good generation, they play well. Jamaica throws an upset here once in a while. But basically, I mean, there's no reason that the U.S. and Mexico shouldn't be playing in a final. But the nice thing about this game was, we have our young players. We've got our Lord and Savior, Pulisic leading the line. We've got young Gio Reyna, 18, in the lineup, and Sargent, and all these guys that we've seen playing in Europe, which is just weird. And John, what was the center back?
John Brooks. It's John Brooks. The goal.
John Brooks is literally like in the running for Defender of the Year in the Bundesliga. Yeah. So we've got a lot of good players, and we can thank the Germans for being very efficient, teaching our players how to play. Same way they were efficient with some other things that we don't like to talk about on the show.
Fourth Nazi reference in this episode. No, so and real quick, we talked about this in length in one of our previous episodes, and we can link it in the show description, I suppose. But what we basically said was that the Germans are, frankly, like you said, good at finding inefficiencies. And what they did was they more or less looked at Gio Reyna and Christian Pulisic and John Brooks and Weston McKennie, I think, for a little bit before he went to Juventus, but and basically saying these guys are phenomenal athletes.
Yeah, he was in Schalke.
Yeah. And they crafted them into footballers. And so now we've got, the
Adams.
Yeah. And so thank you, Tyler Adams. So there's a lot more on the way. And so, you and I were talking about how, and our friend Chari, who we still have to have on the show soon, he was effectively saying that he doesn't love Berhalter's style of play. And you were saying the same. And you were actually advocating to play the way that the Americans have always played, which is basically Burnley and hoof it up field and let Reyna and Pulisic do their thing. And for what I would say is for this upcoming tournament, this upcoming World Cup, fine. But I think that you're starting to see the tide change in the way that the U.S. men's national team comes together and the way that they play together, right? It's not just, Clint Dempsey's on the doorstep at the right place at the right time sort of thing. It's not like Landon Donovan literally taking a game over by himself for 5 minutes and then us getting battered for 85. You're starting to see a strength from within.
We can play. There were moments, especially in the second half. Once there's some of the substitutions came on, there was a highlight that I watched. I didn't get to watch the game again. I couldn't find that. I did watch the 15-minute full highlights, which gave you a good sense. We were doing really well on set pieces the whole game. And McKinney is really a good player. Listen, the guy is playing with Cristiano Ronaldo. There's no way that's not a bad thing, even if he doesn't talk to him, right? like he's just watching. Like, that guy's 35 years old. He does not give up. He does not stop. when you take him off the pitch, he's pissed off. He wants to win every fucking game, no matter what. And if we win and I don't score a goal, I'm pissed, right? And I'm happy, and I'm pissed when we lose. So I'm only happy when I win and I score a goal. So that's that's a good sort of base to be on. Like, I want to win and I want to score a goal. I'm not sure which order it is for Ronaldo, but usually if he's good, they're good. And he was just getting up on those crosses the way Ronaldo does, which was weird. And he got, I think, 2 on target and scored one. And Gio Reyna scored early, but the first step was a mistake. With Corona scoring a goal because our center backs, I don't even know who it was. It was McKinney. I don't even know who he is. McKenzie. I don't know where he plays.
Oh yeah,
feels like an MLS guy. But we had Brooks, who's good in the middle. It was a 3 at the back. Ream on the other side with Dest. Mexico completely lit us up.
Mark McKenzie is from the Bronx, as it has, and he plays for Genk.
Oh well, then he's Euro. That's good.
Yeah.
But Dest and Ream were just getting annihilated. And anyone who's watched Fulham knows that Tim Ream is fucking awful.
Yeah.
If he has to play for the U.S., that worries me.
So, all right. But I think
Sargent and Reyna and Pulisic are really the story. They were fantastic. They pushed. They are real players. I mean, Pulisic is a fucking European champion.
Yeah.
Plays for the United States, which is
and so
great.
The interesting thing, right? So there's twists and turns all across this game. I would say starting in the first minute when Mexico scored, right? But we get the equalizer. Zach Steffen has to come off for an injury, right? And so
Horvath,
and we bring on Ethan Horvath, which, okay, footnote for now. We trade goals late in the game, like you mentioned. Weston McKennie gets us right back into it.
Awesome.
And then some controversy, right? Like, the penalty is called, and then within the VAR review, you've seen more of it than I have. So I'll defer to you here. But from what I gather, the Mexican coach was given a red card for touching the referee during the.
Yeah, he was trying to get behind him. It was Tato Martino. It's not any coach. It's Tato Martinez, right, who coached Barca and basically took Atlanta United as an expansion team and essentially destroyed the entire MLS. And people are like, oh, you can play fun. People can coach. That's fucking weird. And then he took the Mexico job because the United States won't take a non-American coach,
except for Jurgen Klinsmann,
which is fucking retarded. Well, he's a U.S. citizen.
No, he was. I know. Don't get me started. But yeah, so really interesting turn of events. Now, the Mexican fans, everybody's acting right like this is a new thing.
No,
right? Because you've got a couple of things going on in the NBA, and those entitled little crybaby bitches are whining and complaining about some popcorn being thrown on them, and so, but there was some craziness going on. Right?
It was normal Mexican fandom.
Yes,
this is what they do.
Right.
You know what?
I would say
this is good.
No, I agree. What I would say, the only difference, the guy who jumped onto the CBS set, that was a little crazy. That was a little nuts. But yeah, this is no different than every other Mexico game ever. By the way, has very little to do with opponent. They do that to everybody. They yell puto, they yell all that shit. They don't throw as much against other teams than they do Americans, but fine. We fucking hate you back.
Good, but this is good. This is what drives the U.S. Like, if it weren't for Mexico, we would make it to the World Cup all the time and get annihilated.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally agree. And so the best example of that was when Pulisic took that penalty. He hit an absolute thunderbolt into the top bins, and he went angrily. Like he had that "don't fuck with me" look on his face. Like, I'm going to touch this ball with my right foot, and there's not a goddamn thing you could do if there was three of you in that net.
Ochoa was good. He made a couple saves as well.
Sure. No, and Ochoa is I hate Ochoa. He's a good goalkeeper, especially in big moments against us. But there was nothing he could have done.
No.
And it was just a Pulisic putting his stamp on the game.
Takes the shirt off, does the whole thing.
Yeah.
Incredible.
A big middle fingers. Not literally, but effectively.
But he does the shush to the fans because it's never enough US fans.
Yeah. Yeah. The only time ever is when it's in Columbus. I've been to games, not against Mexico, but I've been to games where you're playing a Central American team and it's just you are not a home team.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's Americans' fault.
No. I'm not saying, it added to the experience.
Yeah, it makes it
But
better.
yeah, so, and then I'll let you take it home from the final moments of the game there. Your boy Zach Steffen goes down, like we mentioned.
Yeah, Horvath, there's another penalty on a handball that's in VAR era. They gave a VAR penalty. They had to give another one. It's CONCACAF.
Yep.
The referee was from Canada, very handsome, salt and pepper hair, dark skinned guy. He looked amazing. But he was very animated. He was pointing, he was gesturing. He really wanted to be part of the show. And he was, because Pulisic penalty they had to look at. That's when Martino got sent off. And then the penalty at the end of handball, Horvath just straight up just saved it. Like hand down, poorly taken. I mean, it was okay. And then you sort of noticed that he got a hold of it. But he made a couple of good saves. And it was a classic America-Mexico game, except this time the US won. Normally these classics we lose.
Or there's a draw, right?
Right, or it's a draw. Like the 1-0 at the Aztecas is the famous one. But most of the time we lose these home games.
Well, the Dos Aceros, right? Those are the in the heyday of the last generation.
Yeah, but only in Columbus.
Yeah, that's true.
Basically. But this being a big game, and I think the bigger thing is just, if you look at the lineup, it's just a bunch of guys playing in Europe, and that's different than what we went down with in Trinidad, which is the nadir and death blow that should never happen, and anyone who played in that game should go nowhere near this team aside
with
from
the
Pulisic.
exception, with the exception of Pulisic.
So you've got Reyna, Sargent, Pulisic, European champion, Gio Reyna, an integral part of Dortmund, who made the top 4 and won the DFB Pokal trophy. Sargent, although he went down with Werder, he works hard, he's athletic, he runs like a fucking deer, he needs to do something with his hair. McKennie is playing in Juve, which is the biggest team in Italy. They had a bad year.
Except for Salernitana. Okay, Juve is the second biggest team.
Right. Kellen Acosta, I believe, is an MLS player. That's weird. I don't like him there. But Dest plays for Barcelona next to Messi, which is kind of fun that you know that. Yedlin was an international playing at Newcastle. I believe he's in Turkey at Galatasaray.
Oh, okay.
And then Brooks is probably the defender of the year in Germany or up there. It's Ream and McKenzie. I don't know anything about McKenzie. Ream, I never want to see. He's another problem. That
I agree. But again,
and Stefan is the backup goalkeeper for City. Like, this is a name brand team.
You've got to feel good about the lineup and the not so much the lineup, but like the way that the talent is starting to be cultivated, right? It's not just a bunch of the Wondolowskis, right? Like that's the name that haunts me still. With that miss from Belgium, which was now almost 8 years ago, I guess.
We should have never been even close in that game, and that's why.
No, I know, but I think the worst part is not so much that we lost it; it's that we should have won it despite of everything. In spite of everything. But anyway, we don't want to talk about 2014 that much, but yeah, I think that the makeup of the team and the cohesion of the unit, right, when they get together.
Is Weah still there?
Yeah, Tim Weah. Like there is more on the way, and we're 18 months roughly away from the World Cup now. Because you've got, it's going to be the winter one, which I forgot about until today. Qatar. So it's going to be in November, December. You've got 6 more months.
Fucking stupid.
Yeah, no, I know. That's another conversation for another time. But what I'm saying is in that time, we will have more value and more continuity.
Yeah.
This group and frankly, more names added to this list, right?
Yeah, the thing that I don't know about is, was there a structural change in U.S. football that happened? I don't know. I'm assuming there was something. I think one thing is the business model of MLS must have been changing a little bit slowly by surely, that teams who develop players could sell them and make more of the money because of that central entity. Historically, when a player is sold in MLS, the league takes the money.
Right.
Which is insane.
Well, what happened with Alphonso Davies when he was sold from Vancouver?
I don't know the story there.
Yeah. Well, I know that it was probably like a $10 million transfer for Bayern. It wasn't a huge sum.
No, no American has gone for a big.
Well, he's Canadian technically, but same.
Well, yeah. No MLS player, period.
Right. And so that's the question, because And it's so ironic. We talk a lot about how capitalist everything in Europe is and how socialist all the sports in the US are, and I guess North America, I should say. But yeah, I mean, if you were allowed to do that, who's the guy that Orlando City sold? I should know this.
DK.
Yeah.
They haven't sold him. It was a loan. They just brought him back.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even think of that. He's not even playing up front.
Yeah.
The dude basically put Barnsley on his back.
Yep.
Now, to be fair, Barnsley plays weird.
Well, yeah, but nonetheless, right? So I think what you're starting to see, and by the way, it's not just Germany. It's not just all these kids going over there. It is at a younger level. The cultivation of talent is getting better. Now,
yeah,
it couldn't have gotten much worse. The athleticism has always been there, but the actual football technical skills,
they're good.
They're starting to get better to the point where Pulisic, where Tim Away, where, Weston McKennie can go over there. These kids they're still 22, 23 years old.
If the way to think about it, and the way I always think about it is, if Uruguay can win the World Cup and is always competitive, if the Dutch are always competitive relatively, they have down periods, if Belgium is in a golden generation, and these countries' combined populations are the size of California, there's no way we can't fucking come together 20 boys that will win. Now, on the pipeline side, we haven't been good. We've been losing at the lower levels, but having enough individual players to make a difference. Like we have,
yeah, no, that's the thing. Is
we don't have a golden generation. We don't have like a 2017 World Cup champion the way England have, right? Under 17.
Yeah, but I never really.
James and all those guys came from. That stuff matters.
I think it matters for a team like England, for a club like for a country like the US, where we didn't make the World Cup last year. Burn it down, start from zero, right? You've got all these kids who are on the way.
Yeah.
None of this is their doing. None of this is their fault. But at the same time, I don't really care about the U17 results because I'm looking at the individual skills.
Yeah.
Right. That's the thing.
Is someone playing for Chelsea? Is someone playing for City? Right.
Right. I want to have a couple of the stars that I can build around. And I know that it's reverse engineering what we've said 100 times about the weak link sports sort of stuff, but like you do have to have those guys as well, right? Especially in the international game. So,
you need, but I mean, obviously you'd want more. You want options so that Michael Bradley doesn't play for 10 years and he's been shit for 6 of them.
But let me get something before I get anything, right? Like before I get everything, I should say. Yeah. So that's kind of where I look at it. But hey, let's do some bill paying, shall we? Listen, we were talking a little bit with Dave from the Chop Sports Network, and we've been talking to Joe at Attitude of Gratitude Consulting, and I struggle financially because I want to spend so much money on Salernitana's stupid jerseys, right? Like I'm fine. I'm not struggling financially, but what I'm saying is I'm a fucking idiot. If you've listened to more than an episode and a half of the show, you're like, yeah, no, we know that. But Joe is really great, right? So he'll take the time to really go through things with you and be like, Mike, listen, he'll find a way to tell you you're an idiot so well that you're like, wow, he's really making a lot of sense.
Let's not spend more monthly money on software for a podcast that has 50 listeners.
Right? Yeah. Oh, 500,000. So that's the thing. And the site is called Attitude of Gratitude Consulting. It's just welcoming. He's
giving it back. He's giving it back.
Right back. So he's great. I would certainly check that out. Again, www.attitudeofgratitudeconsulting. For more info, Joe's going to hook you up. Definitely please reach out to him if you have any questions. Not just if you're an idiot who can't stop buying soccer jerseys, if you have legitimate real life financial questions.
Well, Mike, as you know or don't know, I am on day 31 of my supreme super duper keto diet.
Wow.
And one of the things that's with keto is you're eating the same stuff all the time, and you just need to find some kind of snack that'll help you get through it and get you to make the food you have taste better. And what I've been using is Sunflower Meadow seasonings. So good, so incredible. Takes that 14th different breakfast egg meal that you made with extra butter and just gives it a little bit of zing, zang, zoom that the guys at Sunflower Meadow thankfully sent us, and makes that keto diet that's driving me crazy worse. Now, I don't even care if they're keto friendly. I'm putting it on my food anyway. It's so little. It's just a seasoning. I'm not endorsing them as a keto food, but I just need that sweet, salty flavor to get me through my thing. And at Sunflower Meadow Seasoning, you can check out their whole lineup of products, put it on your food, enjoy the day, and thanks, guys. We need it.
Yeah,
Gotta survive my keto desperately.
And hey, one other self-plug while we're on the bill paying, I suppose, segment of the show. We've really started to appreciate the community that is kind of enjoying our show. And we love, hearing from you guys. And, one of the things Dave and Chris were telling us about, it's been great partnering with them. And we certainly have seen our listenership grow and sort of build that, like I said, that community around the show. They were saying, have a Facebook group instead of a page, because you're basically, the difference is very simple. You're talking to people in a page, whereas you're conversing with people in a group. And so they've got the Chop Sports group, which, by the way, everybody really listening should jump in. It's buzzing all day. There's different, everybody's talking about everything sports related all day, not just the New York area. But so we started more or less a spin-off group called the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast Facebook group. And so it's a modest following so far, but we've got a handful of guys in there. And it's honestly, I actually noticed today, there's more people in that group already that I don't personally know than I do, which I think is really cool, because it's all it is just a bunch of footy heads coming together, talking about stuff. We were joking about the Salernitana jerseys all weekend. Salernitana, by the way, I keep saying it wrong. But yeah, and Jay Devlin, who I know is a big friend of the Chop Sports Network, he's been awesome just chatting with him about different stuff. We were talking about the US-Mexico game, almost all day today. So, big shout to him. I know he's, like I said, a friend of the Chop Sports Network. So, it's good to meet people, and it's weird that in the last year or so, it's easier to shut off behind the screen and be a son of a bitch and be like miserable all the time. But the cool thing about this, and like I said, it's a spinoff of the larger group, is that you get the people who are, I don't want soccer on the feed anymore. And it's like, dude,
it happens every time.
Stop it. Knock it off.
It's boring.
Like, I like American sports too, dude. But nonetheless, having this smaller group so far has been refreshing. It's everybody's just having fun with it. Right. So, talking about just nebulous, crazy things in football, and their favorite clubs, their favorite kits, all that stuff. So if you haven't yet, and you do listen to the show, please come join us. Squeaky Bum Time Podcast on Facebook. It's a public group. Everybody's welcome to join. And we'll see you in there, and you'll converse with us, unfortunately, and a lot of other great people too. So yeah, that's our part of the show, I suppose. What else do we have? I want to argue with you. Now I remember. And you know what it's about.
Yes, I do.
I don't understand. All right, we had the Diaz versus Kane argument. I'm not over it. I don't agree, but something else happened.
This was bad.
Okay, how many games did Kevin De Bruyne play in the league this season? Out of 38,
25 off the top.
Maybe, right?
Yeah,
he was given the Player of the Year. Now, hold on. Before I go,
voted on by the players.
Yeah, by the players. Player of the Year, Kevin De Bruyne, Manchester City. Now, before we go any further, Kevin De Bruyne is one of the two unquestionably most talented players in the Premier League. In fact, if he has a healthy season, he probably is the best player, probably by a comfortable margin.
23 starts.
Yeah. Okay.
That's not a lot.
That's not. That's 60% roughly.
Yeah.
So the thing about it is, like, nobody's asking who is the most talented player in the league. It's who had the best season. And Harry Kane,
classic debate.
Won it, but he won the Golden Boot and the Playmaker Award. By the way, the award that Kevin De Bruyne almost always wins, because he's got the best. He's got the best team, but he's also got this wonderful magic right foot that he puts balls right on top of other guys. Yeah. Right, he makes more assists and big chances than anybody in the league if he were to play 35 to 38 games, but he didn't even come close.
Nope.
And so, man, that one, I was mad about Diaz, but I was ready to be mad about Diaz, so I didn't really give that much of a shit.
So here, but let's sort of get this delineation right. It's weird. So first of all, there are 2 Player of the Year awards. One is Football Writers Player of the Year. That's what Diaz won. That's probably the better one. And then there's a Players of the Year award voted on by the players. And I don't know if it's the rest of the league as well. The players tend to be shit at these things in general across all sports.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
They suck at it. Like they would have probably voted Russell Westbrook MVP because he got triple doubles and yells at people, even though he sucked. Right? What players like in players is not necessarily what winning teams need, right? Sure. And so that's the other thing. And then the other piece, I think, they vote for who they hear, right? They're so susceptible to media. They just listen to De Bruyne. It was so weird looking at the team of the season. It was half City for the first time ever. It's never City.
That should have.
I know it should have been, but as a City fan, we just feel this weird, like, nobody likes us. And we're not mean. We're not Millwall about it. We're not like, no one likes us and we don't care. We'll fucking beat you. No one likes us and we don't understand why.
Whereas Tottenham have a very similar thing going, and it's like, no one likes us and we're just tired of not being liked. Yeah. We just want someone to hug us and tell us.
I know I do have to sit back and just be like, there's no way that every single team in the league doesn't think everyone hates them. Right? Like, yeah. I know you laugh at me for watching ESPN FC, but it's a ritual. I just watch it. Okay.
Yeah.
But they constantly are like, Craig Burley hates my team. Alejandro Moreno hates my team. Marcotti hates my team. Julian Lorenz hates my team. People tweet at the show. And It's just like, no, this is what we do. We do this. Like, I can't like doing this show twice a week is pretty easy. It's not too bad. Can you imagine doing it every day for an hour? And then like having a producer say, gotta talk about Real Madrid. Those timing things they dropped off. What are we gonna talk about? You're like, Zinedine Zidane is the greatest player of all time, Ronaldo or Messi. They want to shoot themselves in the face. Like, that's why I like Craig Burley.
ESPN, by the way.
But that's why I like Craig Burley. He's like, I'm not talking about the fucking Ballon d'Or. We're not doing this. I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
He literally wants to say, I don't care. Or he's like, if I'm playing golf and someone talks to me about football, I tell them to go the fuck away. I do a job. I talk football for my job. When I'm not at work, I don't want to talk about this stupid fucking sport. He's amazing. He's a fucking legend. Yeah. I don't care.
He's the angriest man at the pub, right?
I bet you he's super nice and it's just all an act.
No, I know for a fact that numerous ESPN personalities are like that. They're just like, by the way, Stephen A. Smith is a sweetie pie. Like,
oh, sure. It's an act.
Skip Bayless is a motherfucker though. And when I was a nobody when I worked there, but like I would go to the gym and it would be like everybody was there. Scott Van Pelt is everything you want Scott Van Pelt to be, which is I love him. I was like, hey, I saw him one time. I was like, hey Scott, how you doing? And like he stopped. He's like, how's your day going? And I was like, terrific. Thank you, Scott.
Because awesome that's what you're supposed to do, right? That's if you're successful, there's 2 ways to be. You can be ruthless, terrible, and evil, and you kind of win that way, and you burn out and everyone hates you. Or you're super duper nice. It's the Stan Musial way where you're just like, he's literally the nicest person ever, and he's the greatest ball player of all time. And on the other side of that is Ted Williams, miserable cunt who hated everyone, but he was also the greatest player of all time. Like,
right.
There's 2 ways. Jordan versus who's like LeBron. I guess LeBron's a drama. Kobe's an asshole.
No. He made one mistake, right? But like he was really
the one with the helicopter or the one with the girl?
Oh, Jesus. 2 mistakes. Oh my goodness
too
gracious.
Soon? Is that too soon?
No, I don't think so, but yeah. All right, that's going to take us home. On Thursday, we've got to
preview the Euro.
Extensive Euro preview on Thursday because I have not really paid much attention to any of it yet.
Yeah,
I was like, oh shit, it's coming on Friday.
It's tough to this turnaround. So one of the themes of the season, Mike and I picked probably the most difficult season to start our podcast on ever, where there were games just every day, all the time, forever and ever and ever and ever in every league, all nonstop. Now it gave us momentum and we pushed and we're like, fuck. But it also means that this year's biggest tournament is starting tomorrow. So I think it kicks off with France, Germany, a little Maginot Line tete-a-tete, little old school there. We'll find out which women get their heads shaved after they come back the other way for sleeping with the enemy. And we'll see how that goes. But that's like extra. That was bonus.
Yeah, that was. But I think that's a new personal best for Nazi references on the show.
It's National European Tournament Day. We're going to talk about Srebrenica. We're going to talk about Albanians. We're going to talk about ultras. We're going to talk about people being thrown off bridges because they're Muslim. All sorts of good stuff that went on in the Bosnian conflict of the late 90s. I can go anywhere. You want to talk about World War I, anything. I've got Battle of Waterloo. You name it, I will fucking talk about a war. There was a Battle of Leipzig. Very interesting stuff. Napoleon's generals really turned a corner there. They really pushed the Allied command back. Anyway, that's
this is what you're getting.
This is Napoleonic Wars. That's quality stuff. That was the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike Salerno and Laurent Cortines. We are the football wing of the Chop Sports Network. We record on Mondays and Thursdays, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you're listening on Apple, please rate and review the show so you can hear more crazy stuff from me about the War of 1812, Appomattox, whatever you've got, whatever you want to cover, I will cover it. And we'll if you want to give a shout out, I'll give you a war shout out for anything you want.